everybody. I'm Mr. Pissed.
And I'm Mrs. Pissed.
And we're pissed. I mean, every time I go to the hospital, for whatever reason, or a test or whatever else, I gotta make sure.
Healthcare. Let's move to England.
Well, are you thinking? Are you thinking?
Yeah, I want to move to England.
Which is another.
I want to move to England.
You really think we're going to have universal health care?
What, in England? Yes. We would. If we moved to England, they would pay for all our health care, yes.
The closest I would move would be Canada. And that would be, I would still want to stay near the border.
Yeah, I could live with Canada.
I could live with Vancouver or Toronto.
Okay, it's a deal.
It might be a deal. Might be a deal.
I'm telling you.
And we may have to do it soon. The United States continues to, we actually looked at moving very hard. I know, Michelle Obama, but well,
what?
You know, you must hate America, you know, if you're not happy with America.
Oh, yeah,
we looked at moving, frankly, right after this asshole declared war in Iraq. But we thought it would get better. Anyway.
That's what everybody thinks.
Right.
It's going to get better. It's going to get better.
You think we're going to have universal health care? Under any president?
Well, define universal health care. I mean, the only thing that they're proposing is that everybody be covered. It's certainly not going to reduce costs. It's not going to. They're not going to pay for all your health care. You're still going to have to pay insurance and pay deductibles and pay co-pays and blah 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 and everything that you do now. You know what? All they're proposing is that everybody get covered. That's
you know what the dirty little secret about universal health care is, especially in the other countries.
What?
Is that doctors in those other countries don't make near the amount of money that
well,
they make
boo
here.
Fucking who?
Well, boo fucking who is right, but you know what? The doctors have got big money to spend on this.
Well, a big part of why doctors make so much money is because they pay so much in malpractice insurance.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Think it's that big an issue?
Yeah, it is. It's
so all these McMansions that are going up, where these guys are making $500,000 a year. I mean, I'm talking about the difference between taking home $500,000 and taking home $200,000. I mean, you're talking about.
Well, not everybody makes that much money. I mean, not everybody.
Around here they do. Pricks make a fortune around here.
I know.
But I knew a doctor too that was an ex-alcoholic that wasn't making any money. He actually went broke. John, good guy.
Yeah, I know.
But he cared too much. He
I mean, what it boils down to is that the government decides how much stuff costs. I mean, it's and doctors become employees of the government is what it is. I mean, you entirely take the whole private sector out of healthcare. That's the only thing that's gonna bring costs down.
Well, I mean, assuming that you take out 15 or 20% profit on every level, you certainly are going to have lower costs for better health care.
Right.
If you take the insurance companies out, you're taking 15% out right there.
Right.
If you take the drug companies out.
Right. Yeah.
Don't get me started on the prescription drug benefit my mother enjoys so little.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. I mean, you take the private out of it, you bring it under the government where the government can regulate it like Medicare. I mean, that's what they do for Medicare.
Absolutely.
I mean, they pay X amount of dollars for services, and that's the bottom line, and that's all they pay. And if if that's what it was, and the doctors made, say you were an internist with 10 years of experience, you made $100,000 or whatever, and that was it. What are you going to do?
Well,
people would go into medicine because they want to practice medicine, and they would be allowed to practice medicine instead of having to run a business,
Do you think maybe that
instead of having to go out and find patients and run a business, Do
you think maybe the educational issues are also entwined into this because med school costs so goddamn much?
Oh, that's part of it, I suppose. I mean, yeah, they want to make that, but that's it's that way for any, at this point, for just about any profession, is that you go to college, and you're going to wind up, $200,000 in debt because you go to a decent, a decent school, it's going to cost you that much money. So
For 4 years.
For a lawyer or
No, we're talking just 4 years.
yeah, so yeah, I mean that whole thing is of course it feeds into that, but the bigger part of it is the insurance companies and how much they rake off the top of what we pay in for healthcare costs. So
And how they shave. I mean, the
It
biggest problem for me is that there is an inherent conflict of interest. When you have a for-profit entity that makes money by denying claims, you're not going to have a healthcare system that's worth a shit. I mean, it's not dedicated at all to healthcare.
Yeah.
It's dedicated to going backwards. It's dedicated to less healthcare.
Right.
And that's there's no way around that. I mean, you just have to take that out of the equation.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to have a lousy healthcare
It's going to be a long time before
37th,
that ever happens.
37th in the world.
Yeah, it's going to be a long time before that ever happens. I mean, the insurance companies are so entrenched in everything, really, that unless they decide to nationalize healthcare, it's going to be tough.
All right, well, thanks. We'll come back some other time. And Mr. and Mrs. Piss, signing off.